Picture this: a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex pushes through the jungle, its footsteps thundering like distant drums. It throws back its enormous head and lets out a deafening roar that shakes the ground beneath you. That scene, burned into our collective memory, comes straight from one of the most famous moments in Jurassic Park. For decades, Hollywood has made us believe that dinosaurs roared like giant lions, a sound so loud it could be heard for miles. But here's the problem: we have no actual recordings, no fossilized sound waves, and no direct way to know what a dinosaur truly sounded like. The question is, can science, with all its tools and technology, ever reconstruct that sound? This is more than just curiosity. It's a detective story, millions of years in the making. To uncover the truth, scientists must piece together clues from the bones, living relatives, and the physics of sound itself. And as we'll see, the real roar of dinosaurs might be nothing like what you think. Many have tried to imagine it, and the idea of a roaring dinosaur stirs excitement. But is it really what they sounded like? Or is it simply a product of our imagination? What does this mean for our understanding of these prehistoric giants? Hollywood has been our biggest teacher when it comes to dinosaur sounds, but also our biggest misleader. In Jurassic Park, sound designers famously layered together the roars of lions, the bellows of elephants, the growls of alligators, and even slowed down recordings of tortoises mating. The result was an earth-shaking roar that sounded both alien and familiar. The truth is, filmmakers never intended these sounds to be accurate reconstructions. They were designed for drama, not science. Audiences expect big, scary creatures to make big, scary noises, and so that's what we got. But the problem is, once we hear something enough, it becomes the truth in our minds. We now expect Rex to roar like a Hollywood monster, and anything less feels wrong, even if science says otherwise. These cinematic renditions have infiltrated our collective image of dinosaurs, making us assume that a terrifying roar is inherent to these creatures. The line between fact and fiction blurs in these interpretations, and they influence not only our perceptions, but the general public's knowledge of paleontology. This Hollywood-created image has become so ingrained in our minds that even scientists have been influenced by it in their own work, leading to some surprising assumptions in early dinosaur research. Before we can guess what dinosaurs sounded like, we have to understand how animals make sounds today. Most land animals produce sound using a larynx, a structure in the throat that houses vocal cords. Air from the lungs passes through, making the cords vibrate. The shape of the throat, mouth, and nasal passages then modifies the sound. This basic mechanism is present in mammals like us, dogs and lions. Birds are unique. They have a syrinx, located deeper in the chest where the trachea splits into the lungs. This allows them to produce incredibly complex songs. Crocodiles, meanwhile, use their larynx but also resonate sound through large air sacs in their throats and bodies, producing deep, rumbling bellows. This gives them the ability to make surprisingly loud and low-frequency sounds. Size matters too. Larger animals tend to produce deeper, lower-frequency sounds because they have longer vocal tracts and bigger resonating chambers. That's why an elephant's call is deeper than a house cat's meow. By understanding these principles, scientists can make educated guesses about the sounds extinct animals could produce if they had similar anatomy. This brings us one step closer to imagining what a dinosaur's vocalization might have sounded like. Could their sounds have been more like modern reptiles, or did they share some qualities with the vocalizations of birds? Unfortunately, sound-making organs like the larynx and syrinx are made of soft tissue, which almost never fossilizes. What we do have are bones, especially skulls, that can give us indirect clues. In extremely rare cases, parts of a syrinx have been found fossilized. One groundbreaking discovery came in 2016 when scientists announced the fossil syrinx of Vegavis ai, a bird-like dinosaur from about X million years ago. This structure was almost identical to those in modern ducks and geese, suggesting it could produce honking or trumpeting sounds. For non-bird dinosaurs, the absence of syrinx fossils doesn't mean they didn't make sounds, it just means we haven't found direct evidence yet. Instead, scientists study the shape of skull cavities, nasal passages, and any hollow crests to see how sound might have resonated. Hollow bones may have acted as resonating chambers, amplifying sound. Bones can't speak, but they can tell us how an animal's head and throat were built, and that's a critical step toward reconstructing its voice. Every tiny detail in the fossilized remains provides a clue, and researchers meticulously reconstruct these anatomical features to hypothesize what the creature might have sounded like. Interestingly, paleontologists are also exploring how the skull shapes and internal cavities in the dinosaur's head could have affected sound production. Just as modern animals like elephants and whales produce unique sounds due to the shape and size of their skulls, dinosaurs might have done the same. To fill in the gaps, scientists turn to dinosaurs' closest living relatives, birds and crocodilians. Birds descended from small theropod dinosaurs offer a vast variety of sounds, from the deep booming of an ostrich to the melodic trill of a songbird. Ostriches and emus, for example, can produce low-frequency booms by inflating their throat sacs, sounds that can travel over great distances. These birds offer a living example of how ancient dinosaurs might have communicated over vast expanses of land. Crocodilians, the other branch of the Archosaur family tree, produce resonant bellows that cause the water around them to ripple. They can even create infrasound frequencies below human hearing that other crocodiles can detect from far away. This ability to communicate via infrasound could have been a key component in the social lives of larger dinosaurs. If we blend these two lineages, we might get a picture of how some dinosaurs vocalized, perhaps deep, resonant rumbles rather than piercing roars. This approach is called phylogenetic bracketing, using living relatives to infer traits of extinct animals. This method of using modern animals to predict the behavior and characteristics of their prehistoric ancestors is an ongoing area of study. By looking at how current animals use their sounds for territory, communication, and mating, we can infer how these same strategies might have applied to dinosaurs in their time. Some dinosaurs had built-in instruments in their skulls. Take the hadrosaur Parasaurolophus. Its long, backward-curving crest was hollow, connected to the nasal passages. Computer models show that air blown through the crest could create low, foghorn-like calls. In 2013, scientists used 3D scans of a Parasaurolophus skull to digitally reconstruct its call. The sound was a deep, haunting tone, more like a ship's horn than a lion's roar. This suggests that some dinosaurs might have used sound for communication over long distances, warning of predators or attracting mates. If a dinosaur had a resonating chamber, the size and shape of that chamber would dictate the pitch and quality of the sound, just like the difference between a trumpet and a tuba. Imagine the sound of a distant herd of Parasaurolophus calling to each other across the plains, deep, resonating, and more like a musical instrument than an animal's voice. More recent research has also shown that these resonating chambers could have been used for more than just communication. They may have played a role in attracting mates or intimidating rivals. This suggests that some dinosaurs might have used sound for purposes other than basic survival, much like how modern birds use calls to signal territory or readiness to mate. The big obstacle in all of this soft tissue doesn't last. Laryngeal muscles, vocal cords, and membranes decay long before fossilization. Without them, we can't know the exact mechanics of how a dinosaur's voice worked. Even with the best 3D models of skulls, we're missing a major part of the puzzle. That's why reconstructions are always educated guesses. They're based on comparisons to living animals, not direct evidence. We can model the potential frequencies and range of sounds, but tone and complexity remain beyond our reach. Some scientists have tried to model vocal cords mathematically, using estimates of tissue thickness and elasticity based on body size. While these models can predict frequency ranges, they can't perfectly capture tone or complexity. The true sound remains out of reach, adding to the mystery of what dinosaurs really sounded like. Over the past few decades, there have been several attempts to resurrect dinosaur sounds. The Parasaurolophus project is one of the most famous, but there have also been reconstructions of Lambeosaurus, another crested hadrosaur, and speculative recreations for T-Rex. Most of these reconstructions produce deep, resonant sounds, sometimes described as booming, rumbling, or thrumming. One surprising finding: large dinosaurs might have been quiet. Some paleontologists suggest they used closed-mouth vocalization, like pigeons cooing rather than open-mouthed roaring. This would produce sounds that were felt as much as heard, vibrating through the ground. The limitation: without soft tissue, every reconstruction remains hypothetical. Science can narrow the possibilities, but it can't give us a recording of the past. This opens up the door to endless speculation, with every new discovery adding to the puzzle. This is the question everyone wants answered, based on skull size, lung capacity, and comparisons to crocodilians. T-Rex could likely produce extremely powerful, low-frequency sounds, but rather than a sharp, aggressive roar, it may have made a deep, resonating boom, something you could feel in your chest before you heard it clearly. Crocodiles use this kind of sound to communicate dominance and territory, and it's possible T-Rex did the same. Some scientists suggest T-Rex might have also used infrasound to stun prey or communicate over long distances. Similar to elephants, this kind of sound can travel for miles and pass through obstacles. It's terrifying to think that you might feel a T-Rex before you ever saw it. T-Rex may have used this infrasound to disorient prey, sending vibrations through the ground that made them feel the presence of the predator long before they saw it. So, can science recreate the roar of a dinosaur? The answer is, sort of. We can approximate it, narrow down the possibilities, and even simulate the physics of their skulls. But we'll never know for certain. What we can say is that the real sounds of dinosaurs might surprise us. They could have been quieter, deeper, or stranger than the Hollywood versions we know. The mighty T-Rex might have rumbled like distant thunder rather than screamed like a lion. And maybe that's for the best. The mystery keeps our imagination alive. If you could travel back in time and hear just one dinosaur's voice, which one would you choose? And would you want to be close enough to find out?